your next course, sir?
Let me think.
Vehicles?
Okay, rather I will say automobile technology.
I know. Invention of wheel is the base of any vehicle.
Exactly. So shall we see the invention of wheel first?
Can you tell me who invented the mechanical pencil? The mechanical pencil was invented in 1915 by Tokuji Hayakawa. His first mechanical pencil was called the Ever-Ready Sharp Pencil. Hayakawa had owned a metalworking shop in Tokyo, Japan, and in 1942 expanded his company and renamed it the Hayakawa Electric Industry Corporation Limited. It was later called the Sharp Corporation in 1970. Tell me about the invention of the mechanical reaper. Cyrus Hall McCormick was an American inventor who developed the mechanical reaper. His new machine combined many of the steps involved in harvesting crops, greatly increased crop yields, decreased the number of field hands needed for the harvest, lowered costs, and revolutionized farming. Now tell me, who was the inventor of the medicine ball? The medicine ball is a weighed ball used in strength training. Medicine balls range from 2 to 60 pounds in weight. The medicine ball was invented by William Iron Duke Muldoon, a 19th century wrestling champion and boxing trainer. Tell me about the invention of the metric system. The metric system was invented in France. In 1790, the French National Assembly directed the Academy of Sciences of Paris to standardize the units of measurement. A committee from the Academy used a decimal system and defined the meter to be 1/10 millionth of the distance from the equator to the Earth's pole. The metric system was passed by law in France on August 1, 1793.
How many white squares are there on a chessboard? 32. And black? 32.
Can you tell me who invented the microelectrode? Ida Henrietta Hyde was an American physiologist who invented the microelectrode in the 1930s. The microelectrode is a small device that electrically or chemically stimulates a living cell and records the electrical activity within that cell. Tell me about the invention of the microphone. A microphone is a device that converts sound waves into electricity. Microphones were first used with early telephones and then radio transmitters. In 1827, an English scientist, Sir Charles Wheatstone, coined the phrase microphone. In 1876, Emil Berliner invented the first microphone used as a telephone voice transmitter. In 1878, David Edward Hughes invented the carbon microphone. The ribbon microphone was invented in 1942 for radio broadcasting. Tell me about the invention of the microscope. The microscope may have been invented by eyeglass makers in Middelburg, the Netherlands, sometime between 1590 and 1610. Hans and his son Zacharias Janssen are mentioned in the letters of William Boreel as having invented a 20x magnification microscope. Robert Hooke used an early microscope to observe slices of cork using a 30x power compound microscope. In 1673, Anthony van Leeuwenhoek discovered bacteria, sperm cells, blood cells, etc. using a 300x power single-lens microscope. Tell me about the invention of the microwave oven. In 1946, the engineer Dr. Percy LeBaron Spencer was working on magnetrons. One day at work, he had a candy bar in his pocket and found that it had melted. He realized that the microwaves he was working with had caused it to melt. After experimenting, he realized that microwaves could cook foods quickly, even faster than conventional ovens that cook with heat. The Raytheon Corporation produced the first commercial microwave oven in 1954.
What is a light year? It is the distance covered by light in 1 year.
Can you tell me who invented the mobile? Mobiles are airy, hanging sculptures that move with the wind. Alexander Calder, an American sculptor, invented the mobile in the early 20th century. His mobiles eventually became famous worldwide. Now tell me, who was the inventor of MRI scanning? Magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI, allows physicians to examine tissues and organs inside the body by observing the response of atoms exposed to a strong magnetic field. The Swiss physical chemist Richard R. Ernst was working upon improving the NMR process. For the development of MRI, Ernst was awarded the 1991 Nobel Prize for Chemistry. Tell me about the invention of the motorcycle. The earliest motorcycle was a coal-powered two-cylinder steam-driven motorcycle that was developed in 1867 by the American inventor Sylvester Howard Roper. A gas-powered motorcycle was invented by the German inventor Gottlieb Daimler in 1885. His mostly wooden motorcycle had iron-banded wheels with wooden spokes. This bone-crunching vehicle was powered by a single-cylinder engine. Can you tell me who discovered oxygen? Oxygen supports all life on Earth and is essential for combustion and respiration. Yet its very existence was not known until the 1770s. In 1770, G.E. Stahl, a German physician, claimed that all inflammable objects contained a material substance that he called phlogiston, from a Greek word meaning to set on fire. Lavoisier had burned candles in closed containers, and he had observed that only 1/5 of the air was consumed during burning. He called the 1/5 of the air that supported combustion oxygen.
Which is the hardest substance in a human body? It's a tooth enamel.
Tell me about the invention of pantyhose. Pantyhose was invented in 1959 by Alan Gant of North Carolina, USA, in 1959. This new undergarment became popular as mini skirts were the fashion and soon came to replace nylon stockings held up with a garter belt. Glen Raven Mill's textile mill first manufactured pantyhose. Can you tell me who invented paper? Almost 5,000 years ago, in ancient Egypt, the papyrus plant was processed and used as paper. Our word paper comes from papyrus. Paper is made by grinding plant material into a pulp, forming it into thin sheets and drying it in a form. This process was invented in AD 105 by Sain Lun, about 2,000 years ago. He originally used the waste from silk production. Early Chinese paper was made from the bark of the mulberry tree and other plant fibers. Now tell me, who is the inventor of the paperclip? The paperclip was invented in 1899 by a Norwegian patent clerk called Johan Waller. His original paperclip was a thin spring steel wire with triangular or square ends and 2 tongues. The modern shape paperclip was patented in April 27, 1899 by William Middlebrook of Waterbury, Connecticut, USA. Tell me about the invention of the parachute. A parachute is a device for slowing down one's descent while falling to the ground. Parachutes are used to skydive from airplanes. Parachutes are also used to slow down some race cars. The idea of using a parachute was written by Leonardo da Vinci. In 1783 in France, the first parachute was demonstrated by Louis-Sébastien Lenormand as he jumped from a very tall tree carrying 2 parasols. Parachutes were first used in war towards the end of World War I.
What is the distance between Sun and Earth? It is 8 light minutes.
Can you tell me who invented the parking meter? The parking meter is a device for generating money from a parking spot. When you put money in the meter, you are allowed to park for a given amount of time. After that, you can be given a parking ticket. The parking meter was invented by Carl C. Magee of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, USA. The first parking meter was installed in Oklahoma City. Tell me about the invention of the pencil. The lead pencil was invented in 1564 when a huge graphite mine was discovered in England. The pure graphite was sawn into sheets and then cut into square rods. The graphite rods were inserted into hand-carved wooden holders, forming pencils. Actually, the lead pencil has no lead in it. Now tell me, who discovered penicillin? Penicillin is one of the earliest discovered and widely used antibiotic agents, derived from the penicillium mold. In 1928, Sir Alexander Fleming observed that colonies of the bacterium Staphylococcus aureus could be destroyed by the mold Penicillium notatum. Naming the substance penicillin, Dr. Fleming in 1929 published the results of his investigation, noting that his discovery might have therapeutic value if it could be produced in quantity. Tell me about the discovery of petroleum. Petroleum is one of the most important sources of energy today. Petroleum is often found deep under the Earth's surface. The first oil wells to extract petroleum were drilled in China in the 4th century or earlier. They were up to 800 feet deep and were drilled using bits attached to bamboo poles. The modern history of oil began in 1853 with the discovery of the process of oil distillation.
What is the distance between the Earth and the Moon? It is 1.28 light seconds.